Hey guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Valentine Lister and this is my Major Arcana series. Okay, so for today's video, we're going to cover the Tower card and I'm going in deep. I researched all the secret symbolism that's in the card. There's stuff I didn't even know. This is stuff that you can't just get on any old Google search or any old tarot card book because they're not going to tell you what I'm going to tell you in this video. So all this stuff is going to really help you to understand this card very deeply. We're going to go over, like I said, the symbolism. We're going to go over the upright meanings, the reverse meanings, the numerology of the card, as well as the astrology, the astrological correspondence. So you're going to know this card through and through by the end of this video. All right, the Tower card. Okay, so what do we got going on here? Right in the middle, we have the OG Rider-Waite version of the card. So if you haven't caught my other videos, I'll give you the rundown. The Rider-Waite is the most popular tarot card deck. It was published by the publishers Rider and Waite, and the artwork was by Pamela Coleman Smith, who was part of the Order of the Golden Dawn. So a lot of the symbolism comes from that, which I'll be covering in future videos when I get into the minor arcana. And so tarot originated in the 1400s in Italy, and it was a playing card game and eventually became a divination tool. So on the right, we have the Light Seers Tarot deck, and this one is one that I recommend if you're a brand new beginner and just learning. It was the first deck that I used, and it was very easy to understand what the images were. I emotionally connected to it. People that I read for, I think, like this deck the most. And so I love it so much. Anyway, going on to the left here is a deck. It's the Way Home Tarot, another one that I really love. It's connected to the book WTF Tarot, which was one of the first books that I learned from and really helped me have a true love for tarot cards and really understand them in a really very special way. So if you're interested in learning more about these decks or the books that I learned from, I put more info in the description box below. Okay, so the numerology of the card, if you look at the card, you'll see the number 16. I know we're getting up there in the Roman numerals. You gotta like brush up on them, okay? This is number 16 in Roman numerals, and like she did us a solid here in the Light Seers Tarot. Chrisanne just put regular numbers. Okay, anyway, so 16. What is number 16 related to? It's related to the solar light, the light of the sun. And so it's sacred to the sun. And so it's a combination of numbers. When we get to these higher numbers, it's a combo of previous numbers. So it's a combination of the number 10, which is a number of completion and new beginnings based on what we've learned from the past. And then we have the number 6. Number 6 represents harmony, nurturing, service, and social responsibility. And so that adds up to number 7. Number 7 is the number of wisdom and spirituality, reflection in solitude, birth and rebirth. So in this card, completion, harmony, and rebirth is created by light tearing things down that do not serve it. All right, so the secret symbolism. So I'm going to start with the Rider-Waite Tarot. And so this tower here, what is that? What is that tower there representing? The tower is meant to represent ambition built on false premises and the wrong use of personal will. So no one's exactly sure what the images in the card relate to, like historically or related to a myth. However, some historians think it may relate to the Tower of Babel from the Bible in the Old Testament, which, like, duh, I should have figured this out. You know, I grew up Catholic and I knew about the Tower of Babel, but I never made that connection. And I feel like that really helps me understand this card even further if you know this story. So if you don't know that story, in that story, the people of the world, they gather in the lands of Shinar. Was it Shinar, Sinar? Sorry if I got that wrong. And they're united as one. And they all speak the same language, right? Sounds great, but, you know, like this tower card doesn't look too hot here, right? So they decide to build a tall tower to reach all the way up to heaven. And so God was not happy with this. No, no, no. So he destroyed the tower, made everyone speak a different language so they couldn't understand each other. And he scattered them all over the earth as a punishment for trying to act like gods and shortcut into the heavens. So you see, it's like God, lightning coming down, striking, scattering all over the earth. And it kind of reminds me also of the story of Arachne, kind of, if you know that Greek myth too, although there was not a tower in that, but same idea. So another image that this particular tower may relate to is a picture called the Harrowing of Hell. And if you don't know what this image is, it's an image from the 14th century. So in that image, Jesus Christ forces open the gate of hell to free the virtuous dead from limbo. And so this is after his crucifixion and before his resurrection. So some stories to really help you get a handle on what is happening, what really is the story happening in this card and how you can understand that meaning. People, like the wrong use of personal will, people trying to pretend that like they are the universe, they act like gods, and like they think they run this universe, and the universe is here to be like, no, you're definitely an important part of it, but you don't really know what you're doing. Get your hands off the wheel. This is the wrong use. Okay. So I'm moving on to like what this crown is up here. So the crown here is supposed to represent materialistic thought, but could also relate to a fall of a king, and perhaps a king, like, you know, we were talking about before, trying to be too godlike. And the lightning, kind of talked about this, represents divine fire coming down, like bam, like try again. And then we have these like yellow symbols, these yellow, like, it almost looks like flames, flaming tongues, but they're actually supposed to represent Hebrew yods. So if you don't know what yods are, they are an image, a symbol that's like Kabbalistic, which is the mystical form of Judaism. And it signifies the life force, or, you know, Kundalini energy, if you relate to that term, coming into material existence. And so also there is a man and a woman falling from the tower. That was their material security. And another association of this card is the fall of Satan's kingdom, which would be the progression from the devil card, which comes right before this one. If you didn't catch that, make sure to like check it out. I did put a link to that in the description below. Okay, so on to the light seers variation right here on the right, to just give you an idea of like how these cards can vary and how like that meaning that we talked about in the rider waite, how you can see that in this card. And it also adds the meaning. Sometimes like the more like the more like up to date, I'm trying to think of the term, up to date, or the current meaning related to like our current day can really help too, help you get a better understanding, because we're not living in the times of like kings and queens, like, you know, we're in the modern era, right? So in the light seer variation, we have lightning here coming down, that divine fire, right? And it's destroying this little squirrel's home, this poor little squirrel. And it used to be a tree. And he's like, what is going on, this poor little squirrel? Okay. And so let's look at the symbolism of the animals in the card that can help us understand the card. So we have these butterflies, like the butterfly symbolism, all in this card. And they represent like elevation from earthly matters, tuning into the emotional or spiritual, as well as transformation, metamorphosis, renewal, and rebirth, right? So after this fire comes down, we're going to rebuild. This is not the end. So if you get the Tower card, yes, it's going to be bad, right? It's not going to be, or it's not, I shouldn't say bad. It's not going to be pleasant, but it's going to lead to new life and rebirth. So that's the light at the end of the tunnel, because you're not going to like getting knocked out of your tower. That's just life. Okay. So this squirrel here, what does a squirrel represent? So squirrels they signify that we need to lighten our load of unnecessary things. They're a message to have more fun while also attending to practical matters. Don't take things so seriously. Don't take yourself so seriously, right? And that relates to like, you know, people acting like gods. It's like, don't take yourself so seriously. Like your consciousness, right, is part of God, and it's a very divine one. But your human body here is an experience, right? It's part of your own story, and it is for fun. It is a cool experience. It's like you're in your own movie, right? Sometimes it's a tragedy, sometimes it's a comedy, sometimes it's a horror, but we all like to watch those movies, right? For fun. So you can think of your life that way. And so this in the card on the bottom left are acorns, right? And they represent growth, perseverance, and unlimited potential. Keep going, right? There's a reason this is happening, and it's to steer you in the right direction, guys. All right, so I'm going to move over to the Way Home Tarot version. So all of these are pretty similar. Like this, the symbolism doesn't really vary. Like the tower is like pretty straightforward. We don't have to like there are meanings that I didn't think of, like studying this card as I studied the card, but it's pretty straightforward. So we have the image of lightning striking a home right here, while a forest fire blazes around it. So, right, we have a forest fire here. Well, what do we know about forest fires? If you know about forest fires, is that though they are destructive and deadly, not a pleasant thing, very dangerous, they help create new growth through the forest afterwards. And it's cool in Way Home Tarot, just a little hint, like in the future, we're going to see this new growth in the forest, which is like an awesome thing about this card deck. All right, so the color symbolism, I've been going over and practicing with these colors to help you remember them, because like knowing the numbers, knowing the colors, it's a real shortcut to understanding the card. If you can't remember the stories or the other things that I told you about the card, it makes your life easier. So yellow, we got lots of yellow here. We have some, I guess this is more white, like yellowish, right? So mostly yellow in this card. And so yellow represents the soul, and what the soul represents, it's optimistic, it's creative, it's enthusiastic, it's like things are gonna be okay, yay. All right, and then we have gray. This tower is gray, and gray represents wisdom. It's the mixing of black and white. It's not this or that, it's mixed together, good and bad, like light and dark, all mixed together. Then we do have a lot of black, right, in these cards, in these three cards. And so black, what black represents is power, the unconscious, banishing something, and wisdom. And then we have white. We have like this, the lightning is, yeah, kind of white. This is goldish. This is definitely a white lightning coming through. So white represents purity, wholeness, and protection. There is divine protection, even when disasters happen. Okay, and then we have red here. We have red in the cloak. She's stuck with more orangey tones here. And so red is desire, passion, vitality, and courage. Okay, and so orange, like if you're looking at orange, more so represents warmth, energy, activity, drive, and confidence. So it's like bright, it's like got a lot of energy, just like red, but a little bit, like it's a little bit toned down. Okay, and then we have blue. We have light blue here, a little bit there, but light blue, right? There's always some compassion here that's going to help get us through. So light blue really, we want to think compassion, serenity, and mental clarity. Okay, the astrological correspondence. This is pretty straightforward, just kind of like this card for the most part. It's represented by the god Mars. Loves destruction. All right, but why does god Mars love destruction so much? Because it gets things moving. It's new growth. Like once we conquer things, then we can move in and create what we want, right? That is what destruction can bring. This is a very honorable thing because part of life, it needs destruction, so that we can have new awesome things come in. Okay, and the card nickname. So the card nickname is He's Getting Married. And if you don't know why I gave this card a nickname, you need to go back to the easiest way to remember the major arcana. That is a video you need to watch as an easier way to understand the major arcana, right? You're not going to remember every single detail that I'm telling you in this video, I guarantee, right? So I created a little story and gave all of the cards nicknames in a video, and I want you to go watch that if you haven't yet. I keep bugging you guys. I'm going to put a card up here. You can also find it in the description box below, so go check it out. Okay, on to the upright meaning, grand finale here. So, Tower card means destruction, catastrophe, chaos. That will bring enlightenment in its wake. There are things in your life that you're attached to from your false sense of self, also known as the ego, right? Our human self, like that avatar. So it means materialistic gains from greediness, wrong use of force, or selfish ambition are being taken away by the universe forcefully so that you can see your higher self. So some examples of what this could be, unpleasant things like bankruptcy, a boyfriend or girlfriend breaking up with you, a spouse asking for a divorce, a loss of a home or job, having a loved one pass away. It could be something like an unexpected pregnancy or any event from the year 2020. Laugh out loud. Am I right, guys? Okay. And then the reversed meaning. So if the card's reversed, it's going to come out, upside down. You don't have to read reversals, but if you do, please remember that the energy is very much there, but it's being blocked or avoided for some reason. Okay. So it could be you blocking it, trying to avoid, avoid the inevitable. Who wouldn't want to avoid the tower? Okay. Or another person blocking it for you. Cool. Or the universe is blocking it. They're like, maybe they're getting it. Maybe they're not getting too caught up in this thing. And, so that's what you need to remember. So specifically what the reverse meaning means for the tower is that you're trying to prevent a disaster from happening, knowing that you need to let go of something, but forcing your will at all costs. It could also mean like great pain from not letting go from what you want so you can have what the universe knows that you need. So some examples, it could be like getting involved in legal battles to like fight the loss of a job or home that you knew was inevitable. Like, it's going to happen, but you're really fighting it. Like, no. Not taking care of legal matters like related to the bankruptcy or a legal, or whatever financial or legal matter, just not taking care of it. Not getting medical or health care for your unplanned pregnancy. You're like, I'm just not dealing, okay? Refusing to leave after a partner has broken up with you, like holding up in the apartment or the home, be like, no, I'm staying. You got to call the cops to get me out. And then you could be dragging out the proceedings of a divorce to make it painful for your ex, fighting with the doctor that tells you bad news related to your loved one's health, things along those lines. All right, guys, hope you enjoyed this video on the Tower card. And this is just a quick reminder that if you liked this video and want to catch my next card, which is going to be the Star card, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell to be notified for when that video comes out. Also, if you're watching this video like far into the future, or you just want to catch up on the videos I've already done for the major arcana up until now, you can go ahead and check out my major arcana playlist. I'm going to put that right over here, and I'm going to put another related video up here. All right, love you guys so much. Take care. Bye. If you like this video, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell to be notified for whenever I release a new video every single week.